I'm Tony Segreto. Coming up next on 4 News Now, rescue crews respond to the scene. A child at the bottom of a pool. The result, another tragic drowning. An entire development is hit by a burglary ring. The loot tonight is recover. The ring is busted up. A high-tech way to lessen the amount of time it takes for police or fire crews to get to a scene and ultimately save your life. Tonight's Now report. And the tabloids are having a field day at the Duchess of York's expense. Fergie, well, she's spotted topless. But that's just the tip of this iceberg. 4 News Now is next.
4.
Stand by. 4 News Now open.
2.
We'll roll the
1.
open sound. Take it.
This is 4 News Now with Tony Segreto.
Good evening, everyone. Tragedy strikes close to fire rescue tonight in Hallandale. Rescue crews rush to save a little girl from drowning, then find out she's the granddaughter of their chief. Channel 4's Kerry Sanders joins us now live from outside the hospital. Kerry?
Well, sadly, the little girl, 2 years old, died at around 2:30. She was brought to the hospital here where an emergency team worked on her for about an hour. She has been identified as 2-year-old Joanna Coven, and as you said, she is the granddaughter of the battalion chief here, Ramon Coven. And as you can well understand, the battalion chief and his entire family, they don't want to believe that this has happened. The whole family visibly shaken. Apparently, 2-year-old Joanna Coven climbed into the backyard pool and fell in. She was being taken care of by a babysitter at the time. Investigators say it appears that there is no foul play, just a very sad tragedy. And in a state where we have so much water and there are so many swimming pools, this sadly is not unusual. So far this year in Broward, there have been 24 deaths by drowning, and in Dade, there have been 40. And to illustrate that point, we were here waiting to find out some more information about Joanna Coven, and as while we were waiting, another child was just rushed in. And you can see video here of that child being brought in. The child apparently had fallen into a swimming pool at a apartment complex in Pembroke Park. We are told she is in good shape. Here you see that child being rushed in by paramedics. The child is in good shape, but they are going to list her for now in stable but serious condition. We understand that this child fell into the swimming pool at her Pembroke Park swimming pool at her apartment complex. Her mother and her other child rushed in here, you can see, with the officer into the hospital to see whatever they could do. But as we say, the authorities and the doctors here say that that child, is going to survive. I'm Kerry Sanders reporting live at Memorial Hospital. Tony?
Kerry, back to Joanna, the little girl who did not survive. You said she climbed the fence and she was being watched by a babysitter. The fence was locked, and she actually climbed over the fence to get to the pool?
We're not sure whether she climbed the fence. As you saw in the video, it was an above-ground pool. So apparently the child was able to climb up the stairwell and get into the swimming pool in that above-ground pool. What we don't know is whether the babysitter was out back and maybe had her attention distracted, or whether she was actually inside the home. And the investigators couldn't answer that question. It's a question that they want answered, and apparently they don't know the answer to that question yet.
Okay, Kerry, thank you for that live report. Now let's go over to Jerry Helfman, who's filling in for Teresa Rodriguez, who has 2 well-deserved days off. But, Jerry, you're starting with a somber story as well, the funeral of a 19-year-old.
A real tragedy, Tony. A Vietnamese-American family buried its oldest son today, the victim, police say, of a violent racial attack. Lu Yen Nguyen, a 19-year-old pre-med student at the University of Miami, laid to rest today in Deerfield Beach. Nguyen was brutally beaten to death Saturday night by as many as a dozen men. Police have already charged 5 people, and more arrests are expected. Many in the Vietnamese community say the group should be charged with first-degree murder. We'll have complete coverage of today's memorial service, plus the compelling 911 tapes where neighbors tried to get help for Nguyen. It's all ahead, and team coverage on the Channel 4 News at 6. A man found guilty of murdering a South Dade restaurant owner in front of his children won't be getting out of jail anytime soon. Channel 4's Susan Wallace has more on the emotional sentencing hearing of Danny Evans.
A grieving widow approaches the Dade Circuit judge to talk about the questions raised by her 3 children. Their father shot dead a year ago by Danny Evans during a robbery.
Chrissy's been asking me, Mommy, who's going to walk me down the aisle when I get married? And my son, he even asks, Mommy, why didn't they just ask for the money? Why did they have to shoot my daddy? I'm the one left behind to answer those questions.
2 Sarnecki children witnessed their dad's shooting. He was ambushed in the family car a year ago this week. The judge acknowledged that this is truly one of the most horrendous cases he's heard. Not only do the kids grow up without a father, they may never shake the memory of his murder.
I don't think there's been any case that was so cruel, so cold, so heartless as this.
But the sister of Danny Evans raised doubts about Evans's guilt.
I do grieve with the family. I'm sorry what happened, took place. But truly deep down in my heart, I don't feel like my brother did shoot anyone.
In the end, Danny Evans was sentenced to 3 consecutive life sentences. He is not eligible for parole, though his attorney promises this case will be back in court.
It's unfortunate that may happen for the family because they need to get it behind them, but we're confident that we'll prevail on appeal.
The man convicted alongside Evans, Nakia Huggins, will be sentenced in 6 weeks. In Miami, Susan Wallace, Channel 4 News.
Danny Evans and Nakia Huggins are 2 of 5 men accused of killing Paul Sarnecki. 1 teenager has yet to stand trial.
Time now to head out to the Republican National Convention at the Astrodome in Houston. We're going to move over to our monitor wall, where in just a minute we're going to establish our satellite hookup with Channel 4's David Bloom. But first, we want to show you what happened to President Bush earlier this morning in Houston. This was at a prayer breakfast this morning, and as you can see, the president was interrupted by a heckler. Now, this woman screamed that, we quote here, "The blood of Haitians is on your hands and stop the deportation," end of quote. The crowd quickly came to the president's defense, however, drowning out that woman with cries of 4 more years. Now, the president won't have to worry about any heckling tonight. Channel 4's David Bloom is now live in Houston to tell us about tonight's big acceptance speech. David?
Well, that's right, Tony. You might be able to hear the Republicans warming up behind me here in the Astrodome. Of course, the focus tonight on President Bush's acceptance speech, and the president showed up here first thing this morning to get comfortable with the podium.
Yeah, it's not that clear. It's not that.
It's not what you have to.
How are you?
Looking very relaxed, the president even took time to joke with reporters. You couldn't tell that this is certainly the most important speech that any Republican will give this year. One analyst say it could make or break his bid for re-election. And of course, the speeches last night were about family values. Marilyn Quayle, Barbara Bush, even a presidential grandson from South Florida.
It is my honor to present Marilyn Quayle.
The vice president's wife began this family affair taking a tough tack. She's a lawyer, but unlike Hillary Clinton, quit to raise her kids. A point she made sure to emphasize.
Remember, not everyone joined the counterculture. Not everyone demonstrated, dropped out, took drugs, joined in the sexual revolution, or dodged the draft.
It was a not-so-subtle critique of Bill Clinton's character. Delegates hoping the attack helps Republicans in the fuzzy fight over family values.
The First Lady of the United States, Barbara Bush.
Then time for the headliner, the most popular Republican offering a ringing endorsement of her husband, a president with record low popularity.
Tonight, you will nominate George Bush to lead our nation into its future. With all my heart, I say, and I know him best, you have made a superb choice.
When she was finished, Barbara Bush put one of her many grandchildren on the podium, South Florida's own George P. Bush.
I just wish people who see George Bush on TV or read about him in the newspapers could know him as I do. A man of enormous integrity and love for his family and for all of America. Thank you. Et viva Bush! And viva Bush indeed. Tonight, the focus on the president's speech. Expect 3 themes from the president. You can trust me. You should change Congress. And despite the president's broken no new taxes pledge, Republicans will keep more money in your pocketbook. Tony?
Certainly a lot of expectations tonight, David, on this speech. We know what the analysts are saying. They're saying it is the biggest speech of his political career. Even the delegates are concerned, saying if he doesn't show well tonight, it could be over. Do you get that same feeling being on the floor?
Well, yes and no. I mean, you don't want to make too much of this. Of course, you know, there's almost 70 more days, more than 70 days of campaigning left. A lot can happen between now and then. The reason why the speech is so important is because Americans want to see what President Bush's vision thing is for the next 4 years, and they don't think he's articulated it very well thus far. That's what makes this speech so important.
Will his vision tonight include saying maybe, even though he's denied it, I may have to make some changes in my cabinet to reach the goals that I am looking for in making this change?
Well, you'll recall that when he was talking about his cabinet, he was talking about what would happen when if he's reelected. Of course, there's speculation that James Baker might stick around as some sort of economic czar. The president's staff has been discounting that. There's also talk that, again, despite the fact that 4 years ago, President Bush said no new taxes, he might talk about taxes tonight, even some talk about maybe a major overhaul of the tax structure. That all depends upon what sort of bold moves the president thinks he needs tonight. Tony?
Okay, David, thank you very much for that live report from Houston. Jerry?
And stay tuned to Channel 4 for complete coverage of the Republican National Convention. The delegates take to the floor tonight for a final red, white, and blue rally. The highlight, as David and Tony said, sure to be acceptance speeches from Vice President Dan Quayle and President Bush. Joint NBC PBS coverage begins at 8 or tune into Channel 4 at 9:30. A major government shakeup underway in the Bahamas tonight. Prime Minister Lyndon Pindling is out. Pindling guided the Bahamas to independence from Britain in 1973 and has been in office for 15 years, but recent claims that he stole millions from the Treasury left him with few supporters. Opposition leader Hubert Ingraham will take office September 2nd. Tony.
Well, what's Andy doing today? If you looked at the computers and looked at some of the atmospheric conditions around Andy, right, Brian Norcross, you would have thought maybe he would have quieted down a little bit, but apparently he's not listening to what the computers say he should be doing.
Kind of a state of confusion, I think, is the right way to put what Andrew is doing. Still a tropical storm, down from this time yesterday, but the same as it was last night. Now, I put the path here so you can see nice, smooth path. Then late yesterday, took this jog to the north, and then has ended up here. And that jog indicated some influence in the atmosphere that was unhealthy for the development of the storm. Now, to locate it for you at 5 o'clock so you can plot it, 22.3 north, 62.5 west, 45-mile-an-hour winds moving northwest at 12. Again, that's slower now, and the pressure is way up at 29.97. That's not even a pressure you normally would associate with a tropical storm. About 1,500 miles to the east-southeast of us here in South Florida, about 350 miles from Puerto Rico. Now, the question is, what's going to happen next? For that, let's look at the satellite picture. And here you have a clear view of the storm, and right in here is the center. Now, notice most of the bad weather with the storm is to the northeast, indicating there's winds at some level of the atmosphere from the southwest, kind of tearing the storm apart. But it is surviving throughout all this whole ordeal here. Let's go to a satellite loop where the computer puts the colors on the most intense part of the storm. And here you can see last night it kind of broke into two pieces, and then today has kind of congealed into this solid mass right here. Remember, the center is down on this side of it here, and now is taking a little more of a bend in this direction. Still the system to the north that has been influencing it, and probably is the main contributor on why it is not developing, is trying to move away. High pressure in here will be conducive to more development if the storm survives to move north of Hispaniola, if that's the big question. Okay, let's take a look outside here, and what we have is a beautiful day on Fort Lauderdale Beach, but we had some not so nice weather in the inland sections. Check the numbers here downtown. It's 88 degrees and it feels like 99 with that humidity at 67%, southeast wind at 3, and no rain here today with the green flashes out there, all right? Here's the clear view radar now, and what you see here is some showers out to our west, and also we have some heavy thunderstorms up here around Lake Okeechobee, but that's about it. There's just no other serious problem going on here. All right, let's check the storm strike real quickly here and see if we have any storms to check out up there. Well, we had some up here in Broward a little earlier today. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll show you that. There it goes. There's pretty good storms right up there southeast of Coral Springs. Okay, now let's check your forecast. For tonight and for the boaters, east-southeast winds about 10 knots, 2 feet in the open sea, a light chop in the bay, 86 degrees in the surf. 78, a few showers hanging around tonight, maybe a little longer. A few more drifting in later on tonight than we have had, about 78. 92 tomorrow, sunny times and some storms expected tomorrow. Getting a pattern of a few more storms around. But Tony, none of this has anything to do with Andrew. And the complicating thing is here is when the storms are disorganized like this, is where they're going to go, and it's just not at all clear.
Well, now that we heard meteorological speak with highs and lows and this and that, what can we expect, and how closely should we be watching this and be concerned?
Well, here's the... You want me to come this way? Tell me. You guys tell me where to come, all right? Tell me where to go. All right, I'll come over here. Okay, is this okay?
That's good.
We got the cameras all trapped in here. What we can expect is, if the storm survives tomorrow, we're going to have to watch it closely over the weekend, okay? All the computer models indicate it coming in our general direction, but only in our general direction, also in Cuba's general direction, also in Jacksonville's general direction, okay? All of them indicate that general drift over the next 3 days. But none of them indicate it getting here by then. So it's going to be, we'll look tomorrow, see how strong it is, and by that time, we'll have a better idea if it survives, if we need to be concerned late in the weekend or first of next week.
Okay, Brian, thank you very much. We will keep our eyes glued to the storm center. And speaking of storms and speaking of Andrew, another storm is brewing between Britain's Prince Andrew and his wife Fergie, gaining strength again tonight, just like that storm out in the tropics. The London tabloids have published pictures of the Duchess frolicking topless with a Texas millionaire. Oh, boy. Altogether, 17 pictures show Fergie and Johnny Bryant sunbathing at a French resort. Buckingham Palace has released a statement lashing out at the media for printing the photos. Now, today we want to know what you think in our exclusive Channel 4 News telepoll. The question, should the pictures of Fergie have been published? To answer yes, call 1-900-407-3333. For no, dial 1-900-407-4444. And a reminder, each call will cost you 50 cents. Now, we will have early results coming up at 5:30 and then at 6:25 with final tallies tonight on the Channel 4 News Nightcast. Stay tuned to 4 News Now. In our next half hour, we're doing the show and going to show you how the BBC is reporting the latest royal roux. But up next on 4 News Now, it looks like the bridge of the Starship Enterprise, but it's actually designed to save your life.
You bet, Tony. We're talking about the new high-tech dispatch systems that South Florida police departments are switching to, and I'll have that story coming up.
Plus, the Woody Allen love scandal. Tonight, we will hear from Mia Farrow's friend who said she predicted trouble all along. Don't you love friends like that? And then at 6, a Coast Guard chase ends in a huge haul. Find out what it is when 4 News Now returns.
The little old lady from Pasadena, and everybody's saying that there's nobody meaner than the little old lady from Pasadena.
The Dodge Stealth RT Turbo, 300 horsepower, 0 to 60 in under 5 seconds.
The little old lady from Pasadena.
Choose from 4 Stealth models, one starting under $18,300.
See your South Florida Dodge dealer today for a great deal on your favorite new Dodge car or truck.
When I'm hobnobbing with the jet set, I know just what to wear. But when it comes to sports, I don't know what's apropos. That's why I know someone who does.
The Sports Authority, including the best selection of Garin officially licensed NFL activewear, like sweatshirts, jams, jerseys, and more for the whole family.
They put the ooh in ooh la la.
The Sports Authority. You've never seen anything quite like it.
This More You Know message is brought to you by the Real Yellow Pages and Channel 4.
You can never talk to your child enough about being street smart.
Even when you think information like use the buddy system and don't talk to strangers has sunk in, say it again.
Kids have short memories, and it's important to keep reminding them about your family's rules for safety. I'm Bob Mayer.
And I'm Chad Mayer.
The more we talk to our kids about safety,
the safer we'll be.
It is 5:17 on this Thursday afternoon. I wonder what the roadways are like. Probably not too hard to figure out, right, Mike Paxton?
Well, Tony, we certainly have our share of problems. For example, heading into the Golden Glades interchange, have an eastbound backup on the Palmetto, starts around 12th Avenue, and that's due to an earlier accident, which is clearing on the ramp from eastbound Palmetto to southbound 95. As for 95 itself, a northbound accident at 62nd Street. It's off to the right side, but it is causing a viewer delay. We're going to change pages and show you that viewer delay well beyond State Road 112, almost all the way back to the 836 Dolphin Expressway. And that's a look at traffic on 4 News Now.
We're on the road with the first ever Toyotathon summer clearance. With thousands of deals at Toyota dealers everywhere. Save on Camry, one of Motor Trend's top 10.
With more power and standard driver's side airbags.
Get a 36-month easy drive lease payment of $269 a month. A new Camry for just $269 a month. With these clearance deals, we're going to set a new Toyotathon record. Get in on Toyotathon summer clearance now.
Because you can't beat the savings.
Pour on the cheddar and make it taste better.
Potato?
Dull.
With cheddar?
Delicious.
Anybody want chips?
No.
Well, how about some cheddar cheese nachos?
Yeah, right.
With your vegetables? Oh, no. With cheese? Oh, great.
The great taste of cheddar makes everything taste better.
We've heard some of you are waiting for a rice-a-roni with a bit less salt. Well, here you go. Introducing a rice-a-roni with a third less salt and lots of great taste. Good thing there's plenty to go around.
The San Francisco treat.
A wealthy doctor's $1 million art deal ends in death. Now her partner's in jail for murder, and the truth behind their deal paints a very sordid picture. Fatal scam. Plus, meet the ex-mayor who's got a girl in every court.
A Current Affair on Channel 4 at 7 after NBC Nightly News.
Join Clint Eastwood and the cast of Unforgiven for a private screening of their home movies only on the next Entertainment Tonight.
7:30 on Channel 4 after A Current Affair.
In the real world, the genuine article almost never stays on sale, but not this time. Now at your Chrysler Plymouth dealers, it's Chrysler's National Minivan Sale. Plymouth Voyager and Chrysler Town & Country both offer up to $1,600 total cash back on popular family options. Plus, get $500 cash back on select Plymouth Voyagers. The genuine article is on sale. Real advantages for the real world, only at your local Chrysler Plymouth dealers.
Welcome back to 4 News Now. An 80-year-old man run down and killed this morning while carrying home his daily groceries. Harry Piotrowski was walking along Northwest 84th Terrace in Tamarack when he was hit from behind. Driver Jody Lynn Ufer told police she was trying to tune a portable radio, which was on the front seat when the accident happened. No charges have been filed as of yet. You know, you often hear people say, there's never a cop around when you need one. And every now and then a controversy arises over the amount of time it takes a police car or fire truck or ambulance, for that matter, to reach the scene of an emergency. Well, many emergency services are now trying to change all that by using high-tech computer systems that send them speeding, literally speeding, to the rescue. And as Channel 4's Steve Abrams found out in tonight's Now report, it's happening in Broward County.
When you make a call to 911, this is where it all begins.
The call taker will then talk to the caller, find out what their problem is, what they need out there as far as police or rescue or fire, enter the information into the computer-aided dispatch screen.
It looks pretty sophisticated, but the system you're seeing here in the Broward Sheriff's Office dispatch room is 20-year-old technology.
And the technology is mid-70s. The machine that we use is no longer manufactured, hasn't been manufactured in some time.
And it's the kind of system most major police departments are trying to replace. This, on the other hand, is considered state-of-the-art. Even though it looks like the bridge on the Starship Enterprise, it's the dispatch system at the Pompano Beach Police Department.
The system is known as a CAD system, which stands for Computer-Aided Dispatch.
1 Alpha 59.
And the people who are using it say the difference between CAD and the old system is like night and day.
It required information to be sent by conveyor belt back to the dispatcher in another room. The dispatcher then had to think of who to send based on the closest units. She had to think about the cross streets. She had to think about closest fire hydrants.
Now, the computer does all the thinking. It also ties in all the emergency services, like police, emergency rescue, and the fire department, into one central system. And it gives police officers the kind of information they need when they need it.
It gives you immediate information as to a stolen vehicle or a stolen tag, and the dispatcher is able to give the information immediately to the officer.
And last but not least, it speeds up the whole process of getting help to the scene of an emergency. And the whole thing starts the second you pick up your phone and ask for assistance.
It goes right into the system. They start going through several pieces of information, and once it's in, it routes it right up to the dispatch area where they're able to give the call out immediately.
Unless you were to stand with a stopwatch, you probably wouldn't notice, but there will be an improvement in the speed of dispatch to the citizens, no doubt about it.
Now, I don't want to give you the impression the Broward Sheriff's Office is 20 years behind the times because they have a new computer-aided dispatch system on the way. It should be online by June of next year. The cost of these systems varies depending on the manufacturer and the sophistication. In Pompano, for instance, the department paid about $450,000. The system going into the Broward Sheriff's Office is about $3 million. Tony?
Okay, Steve, thank you very much.
An experimental Navy plane is completely destroyed when it crashes on the runway in Arlington, Texas. The plane landed upside down, but the two-man crew survived the accident and are in good condition tonight. Last month, a crash involving the same plane killed all 7 people on board. A bus accident in Barcelona has left 45 people dead and 11 others injured tonight. The speeding bus filled with tourists somersaulted off a highway while heading to Expo 92 in Seville. Witnesses say the bus swerved off a tight bend on the road while going more than twice the speed limit.
Well, we're told the tabloids are a-talkin' over this next story. Still ahead, the Duchess of York split up from Andrew, now caught topless in the arms of another man. South Florida reacts in the pictures next. Plus, a burglary ring busted in Miami Lakes, but you'll never believe who police say did all the stealing. And a Coral Gables cop caught on videotape spitting on his boss's car. You'll see it when 4 News Now returns.
In other words, hurry to your Florida Cadillac dealer. During our 92 closeout, you can enjoy special smart lease payments and great values on the remaining new 1992 Sevilles. But remember, time flies.
When it comes to bringing you the pick of the crop, Publix goes the extra mile. Compare our price on tasty, nutritious bananas, just 25 cents a pound. We bring you the best, whether it means going down the road or to the ends of the earth.
If you want to raise your kids to be responsible and self-sufficient, there's something that really works. Garbage and laundry and lawn mowing and dishwashing, too. You see, giving your kids even one chore a day helps them build a real sense of responsibility. And that's something they can carry with them the rest of their lives. Unlike garbage.
Wendy's honors the American family.
Through the best of times and the worst of times, it has changed. The family, with all of its variety, is the foundation of our country.
At Wendy's, we salute the family as we celebrate America.
Taking a look at Wall Street tonight, the Dow Jones Industrials closed down a little over 2 points with a volume of 184,861,000 shares. Utilities closed down a fraction and some local stocks of interest. FP&L closed up 1/8, Winn-Dixie also up 1/8, and Specs Music was down 3/8.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Peter Deutsch, service that makes a difference.
Founded the Medicare Information Program, helping older Floridians, and as state representative protected seniors against nursing home abuse and evictions.
Peter Deutsch, environmentalist, supported laws protecting the coast, the Everglades, and controlling hazardous waste.
Peter Deutsch, family man, always pro-choice, a friend of education, committed to national health care.
Peter Deutsch, Democrat for Congress.
Making a difference for us.
Get ready to launch yourself into the world of Air and Space Smithsonian, a world that captivates the imagination. Satellites, superjets, soaring, something different every other month. There's no other magazine like Air and Space, and with your subscription comes membership in the National Air and Space Museum in Washington.
To order Air and Space, call 1-800-225-9300 and receive a full year. 6 issues for just $18 with membership in the National Air and Space Museum. Call 1-800-225-9300.
Hot. Hotter. Hottest. Good. Great. Cool. Yes. Do it.
The wealthy doctor whose $1 million art deal ends in her murder. Fatal scam.
On Channel 4 at 7 after NBC Nightly News. Gotta know the latest in sports? Call the 4 News Sports Hotline. In Dade, 358-8000. Code 4444. In Broward, 731-7000. Code 4444. It's free and a service of the Real Talk Yellow Pages and Channel 4 News, your 24-hour news source.
By lunchtime today, the Daily Mirror was reprinting. It said sales were up 12%. Many newsagents sold out thanks to the public appetite for royal scandal.
And that royal scandal has got people around the world buzzing. More on how the Brits and South Floridians are reacting in this half hour of 4 News. Now, also ahead, if they were called yuppies in the 80s, are they dumpies in the 90s? We'll explain that, I hope. And of course, the latest in the Woody Allen-Mia Farrow real-life drama. But first, oh, Fergie, the focus of yet another royal scandal. Newspaper pictures of Britain's Duchess of York topless and in the arms of an American businessman, causing more attention at Buckingham Palace. The reaction from the palace, quote, a strong swipe of disapproval. This after 3 British tabloids picked up the photos first. Now here's what South Floridians had to say about it all.
I think, people are trying to sell newspapers, and not so particularly, good newspapers, but the tabloids, they have to do something to sell their things. So when you put someone on the front page, breastless, especially a celebrity, you're going to sell some papers. So it's a profit motive.
Fergie's pictures topless?
Topless.
That's very awful. They shouldn't do that. She should have them topless in private.
That's a very, very minor thing. I wouldn't even consider reading the stuff.
All those royalty do that. It's chic over there on the other side of the ocean.
Well, now it's on to London. How is the scandal playing over there? BBC reporter Nick Hyam picks up the story.
By lunchtime today, the Daily Mirror was reprinting. It said sales were up 12%. Many newsagents sold out thanks to the public appetite for royal scandal. The paper filled 10 pages with pictures of the Duchess and her friend John Bryan. Billed as exclusive, they show the couple apparently embracing beside a swimming pool, the Duchess topless, and Mr. Bryan apparently kissing her foot, all taken with a long-range telephoto lens. The Mirror says publishing the pictures is justified because they strip away the hypocrisy surrounding the couple's relationship. Mr. Bryan wasn't just the Duchess's financial advisor, and the Mirror's editor says newspapers and magazines outside Britain will be publishing the pictures.
The Duchess of York and Mr. Bryan were between them putting on one face, but in private were quite different.
The Duchess was at Balmoral today with the Duke of York and other members of the royal family, but keeping a low profile. The waiting media had to be content with photographing each other and asking members of the public whether they thought the papers were right to publish the pictures.
I think they've got every right to do it. I think the public should know what's going on behind their backs.
Channel 4 News telepoll. The question, should the pictures of Fergie have been published? So far, 32% of you say yes, 68% say no. Still time to log in your vote. To answer yes, you can call 1-900-407-3333. For no, it's 1-900-407-4444. Again, each call will cost you 50 cents. More results coming up at 6, and the final tally tonight on the Channel 4 News Nightcast.
A Coral Gables police surveillance camera lands a fellow cop in jail. Hidden cameras caught Coral Gables Police Sergeant John Neuer pouring urine into his supervisor's squad car. Neuer says it was in retaliation for pranks his boss played on him, like putting fingerprint ink on his steering wheel. His boss, however, didn't think it was funny and suspended Neuer for a month. Police say they've busted a burglary ring that has been ravaging a Northwest Dade neighborhood. Channel 4's Hank Tester says one of the 2 men arrested, a security guard who worked in the community hardest hit.
This guy's looking for personal items ripped off from his house. A pile of loot laid out by Metro Dade cops. He's one of 80 residents of the Moores development, Northwest Dade, hit since January.
No, nothing.
All this going out the door belongs to Portia Young. She too was a victim. She got a lot of her things back from the cops.
There's no way you can carry things over a wall and onto a major street, I don't care what time of the night it is, and someone not see it.
Which gets us to this guy. He was supposed to see it, and he did. He was a security guard. Meet Frank Merhib. And he's the guy the cops said did all the stealing. And by the way, Merhib, who's an ex-military cop, is in jail tonight, courtesy of these guys, who took him down last night after a month's investigation.
Just make a U-turn, sir.
Okay.
Meet with him right there, sir.
Okay. We went to the Moores. Word was the security guard had access to a computer that told him when residents were on vacation. Howard Pearl, the property manager, told us the computer did not have that information. Airborne security companies ordered polygraphs for all Moores security guards and congratulated Metro Dade PD for good work in nailing their now ex-employee.
I knew the individual from his working here, and I was surprised.
Would you be surprised to know that he had an arrest record in Oklahoma City for burglary?
Yes, I would, especially due to the fact that to get a guard license in the state of Florida, I know you have to be checked out.
Case closed on the Moores burglary ring. Almost. Cops still looking for some possible ring members, and there should be more than a passing interest. More than a few cops live at the Moores. Hank Tester, Channel 4 News.
Police say Merhib had a quarter stick of dynamite with him at the time of his arrest. Investigators told us they believe he was about to blow up a car in the neighborhood. Tony.
Well, there's fire and then there are hills. Wildfires roaring through California's gold rush country. 14,000 people have been evacuated so far, 53 buildings destroyed as fire burned more than 15,000 acres in the Sierra Nevada foothills, about 50 miles southeast of Sacramento. It's already done an estimated $2 million worth of damage. Lightning hit a chemical plant in Odessa, Texas today, causing an explosion and huge fire that released toxic fumes in a nearby neighborhood. The fire burned out of control for hours, and because of a lack of water pressure in the area, it made it really difficult for firefighters to fight that blaze. Fortunately, there were only a handful of minor injuries.
And from Corpus Christi, Texas, there's this. A man outside mowing his lawn was stung 150 times by what authorities say was a swarm of 25,000 bees. Now it's feared he was attacked by dangerous Africanized bees known for ferocious nature. The bees were apparently angered by the noise and vibrations from the lawnmower. Listen up, parents. A new warning out tonight regarding the health of your children. The Centers for Disease Control say infants and children are at high risk for measles and should be vaccinated. But the good news is the number of measles cases reported last year fell to 9,600. Compare that to 1990 when 28,000 cases were reported. Officials say 80% of the people who got measles in 1991 were not vaccinated.
1 million Americans infected with the AIDS virus, a staggering figure that women are fast becoming a part of. That point was driven home last night at the Republican National Convention through a South Florida woman who, quite frankly, could be any one of us. Health reporter Ileana Bravo is now with us with more on that story and more on HIV.
That's right. And, you know, her name is now known by a lot of people in this nation. It's Mary Fisher. And she only spoke for 10 minutes last night, but she touched the convention ears with her dramatic message. She's a 44-year-old socialite and lifelong Republican who is clearly not there to criticize the Bush administration, just to show the nation that AIDS crosses political, ethnic, even racial lines.
If you believe you are safe, you are in danger. Because I was not hemophiliac, I was not at risk. Because I was not gay, I was not at risk. Because I did not inject drugs, I was not at risk.
Now, whether her words will change anything the Bush administration or any president does about the AIDS crisis, that's doubtful. But this woman has certainly presented a new face to this disease, and at the very least, she's opened some people's eyes. And Mary is at least one of the examples that, as devastating as AIDS is, people infected with HRV are learning to live productive and healthy lives. Many are involved in research projects experimenting with drugs that may prolong their lives. Another example is Kip Whitlock. And remember, we told you about Kip last month, a Channel 4 employee who just returned from such a research project. And Kip, tell us what hospital you were and what kind of experimental drugs you were involved with.
Leon, I was at Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore for an 18-day research project, one of hundreds of research projects going on around the country with experimental drugs. The drug that I was on was called a TAT gene inhibitor. And basically,
and I think we should show some of the video of you in the hospital taking the drug.
The TAT gene inhibitor, basically what it's supposed to do is help stop the virus. It won't kill the virus in cells that it's already infected, but it will help protect the healthy cells. I was on this drug for 18 days. Like I said, we took it 3 times a day. It was the worst tasting drug I've ever tasted in my entire life. It tasted like a really bad gin and tonic.
How bad? And what kind of effects did it have on you? How would it make you feel?
It's a Valium-based drug, and I was sometimes very tired. I got quite a few headaches, only one incredibly bad headache where I had to be I had to take some pills to take care of the headache. But other than that, there were no bad side effects at all. They take blood before and after every time I take the drug. They measure blood. They take a T-cell count. They do things like physicals so that they can measure for muscle movement and kidney or liver damage, things like that. They really take care of you because it's a controlled study, and they want to make sure that this drug doesn't hurt you that you're on and you're taking so much of.
And the bottom line is, what are they trying to learn from you as a test subject and hope for the future with this drug?
Exactly, and what they're trying to learn now in just phase 1 of this study was just the pharmacokinetics of the drug, what it did to muscle movement, what it did to my kidney and liver. Phase 2, which happens in about 2 months, that's when they'll take a lot of blood measurements and they'll measure what it does to my T-cell count, what it does to my healthy cells, what it does to the damaged cells. And after that, hopefully the drug will be approved.
Okay, Kip Whitlock, thank you. Ileana, thank you very much for that report. Okay. Jerry?
Well, as you've been hearing, Brian Norcross not taking his eye off Andrew for a minute. Let's go back to him for an update. Brian, is it safe to assume Andrew's not going to mess up our weekend?
That's a good bet, Jerry. We're going to have a fine weekend here, I think, although a few thunderstorms around, but it is August after all. Let's check the numbers outside, and then we'll get to some late pictures on Andrew. 86 is the temperature at the Miami airport. It's 85 on the beach. Homestead, 87 now, 86 at Fort Lauderdale, and 89 degrees at Key West. Okay, on the tropical update, really nothing to talk about except for Andrew. So here we have where the computers are indicating that Andrew will be both Saturday and Sunday. And you see the storm moving this far on Saturday, then only that far Sunday, so slowing down considerably. And I have this whole arc here due to the uncertainty of where the storm will be. All this contingent on the storm surviving that long. It has been having a very, very hard time today. And you see the top winds down to 45 miles per hour and moving slower in a forward direction as well. Okay, satellite picture, wide view first of all. Locate Andrew for you here. Here's the upper low that has been damaging it and the little tail coming out of the upper low all the way down into the circulation of Andrew. And then here's an upper high. Now, let's roll the loop and let me remind you that upper lows and tropical storms don't get along. Upper highs and tropical storms do. So if Andrew survives the combat here with the low and slides over in here to where it's under the influence of this high, the computers are indicating it would then intensify. And that's why we need to watch it so closely, because the closer it gets to us, the more favorable the environment is for Andrew to develop further. So that's why we're kind of juggling this thing here and just saying, stay tuned, watch it, even though it is fairly weak right now. Okay, let's check on the southeast here. In the Gulf of Mexico, we've got a big batch of thunderstorms down here, but that's the tail end of a front. And if anything is going to come out of that, it's not going to be anything going to happen very soon. You see only 69 degrees at Asheville, North Carolina this afternoon with showers up that way. Finally, a nice day in most of the Northeast, but look at the temperature in New York City for mid-August. 74, the current temperature. Here you go with your forecast, and that's under the sunshine, by the way. Few showers hanging around tonight, maybe a few more, especially late tonight than we have had, 78. 92 tomorrow, sunny times, but Storms expected once again, just about any time, and some along the coast as well. Beach sun is going to be best over the weekend. Highs about 92, and some storms likely each day. Back with some new pictures on Andrew. We'll have that at 6 o'clock. Tony.
Okay, Brian, still ahead on 4 News Now. Yuppies now waking up to a fresh dose of reality.
When you lose a job, you know you lose your status. You lose your identity. You lose who you think you were.
Tonight, a look at the newest trend, yuppies moving down the totem pole of success instead of moving up. And then at 6, a rare look inside Cuba's Little China. You'll see the exclusive pictures. Stick with us now because 4 News Now will come back right after this commercial word.
America's most wanted are Ford's best-selling cars and trucks. In fact, every year for the past 5 years, Ford has had the best-selling cars and trucks in America. And now you can lease America's best-selling small car, a new 93 Ford Escort LX wagon for about $156 a month for 24 months. Not 60, not 48, only 24 months. 93s complete with air and FM cassette and more for $156 a month.
Quality, value, and price.
Lease a new 93 Ford Escort at your South Florida Ford dealer today and drive away with what America wants most, Ford quality, value, and price.
When doctors nationwide rated Jackson Memorial one of the top 25 hospitals, their reasons were varied. Some cited the highly sophisticated equipment. Others mentioned the diversity of the medical center. There were those who thought it was research that put Jackson in the forefront. But all agreed the most important reason for this distinction was the doctors. To make an appointment with a UM specialist, call the University of Miami Jackson Memorial Medical Center, 547-5757.
Home Depot is now open in Cutler Ridge at Marlin Drive and US 1. And now, America's most exciting home improvement warehouse can serve you even better. You'll see exciting displays, aisle after aisle of name brand products, including Linzer. For professional results, paint with Linzer paintbrushes and rollers. And for a watertight seal that resists mildew, use Quick Seal Tub and Tile Caulk from DAP. So visit the new Cutler Ridge Home Depot at Marlin Drive and US 1.
Century Village at Pembroke Pines is a lot to be happy about. Irwin Levy, who created America's most successful way of life, is back.
A quarter of a century ago, we revolutionized adult resort condominium living. Now with new financing, construction in full swing, and our home buyers protection plan, Century Village is better than ever. So come on home to the lifestyle of a lifetime. From the high 30s to the low 100s, Century Village at Pembroke Pines.
Blockbuster Video has all the hot summer hits, more hot new releases, and more copies of them. Rock-a-Doodle with Glenn Campbell. Bates and Tandy in Fried Green Tomatoes. Woody Harrelson in White Men Can't Jump, Memoirs of an Invisible Man. Mike Myers in Wayne's World. Rent 3 videos and get a free Wayne's World Collector's Cup and a coupon good for a free 16-ounce Pepsi at KFC. Come see what's in store for you now at Blockbuster Video.
So I should take it to office 17 first, then channel it to 4.
We've got your number because the Florida Lottery can only be seen on WTVJ Channel 4.
They're counting down the days at your South Florida Dodge dealers. The 92s are on their way out, so they're having a big send-off for selected models in stock, with $500 cash back on America's best-selling minivan, Dodge Caravan. But you better hurry. $500 cash back on the Magnum-powered Dakota, but you better hurry. And you can still get a great deal on a 92 Stealth. But you better hurry, because once they're gone, they're gone. So see your South Florida Dodge dealer before time runs out.
A wealthy doctor's $1 million art deal ends in death. Now her partner's in jail for murder, and the truth behind their deal paints a very sordid picture. Fatal scam. Plus, meet the ex-mayor who's got a girl in every court.
A current affair on Channel 4 at 7 after NBC Nightly News.
Join Clint Eastwood and the cast of Unforgiven for a private screening of their home movies only on the next Entertainment Tonight.
7:30 on Channel 4 after A Current Affair.
Get the sense the economy is not getting any better? Wait till you see the latest jobless figures. Look at these. The Labor Department says the number of Americans applying for unemployment benefits rose by 71,000, ending at 474,000 August the 8th. Now, we haven't seen big numbers like these since December of last year, when total jobless numbers hit 479,000. And speaking of jobs, we want to remind you that the Channel 4 job line is open and ready to take your calls. Find out what kind of jobs are available by just giving us a call. In Dade, the number's 379-HELP, and in Broward, the number's 523-HELP.
Remember when the label of the 80s was yuppie, young, upwardly mobile Americans driving BMWs and living in the suburbs? Well, welcome to the 90s and enter the new term, dumpies. In tonight's Life in the 90s report, Channel 4's Teresa Rodriguez found it all stems from companies downsizing.
Yuppie at least sounded like you were someone who had a future. Dumpy sounds like you've been dumped in the workplace and forgotten.
George Moneo was a bank vice president. Like so many other South Floridians, a victim of company downsizing. He still hopes to go back to a full-time bank career, but he's not sitting around waiting for the phone to ring.
I'm doing consulting now through InfoBank Corporation, which is my company.
In addition to selling his banking skills on a day-to-day basis, Moneo is also running a graphics design business out of his home.
I have some skills which banks need, and they seem to take advantage of it. So fortunately, it's been okay for me. I'm not going to say it's been great.
It's been worse for Edith Patterson. Laid off by downsizing at Miami Beach City Hall 2 years ago, she became a victim twice.
Well, after I left the city, I got a job as an office manager for a medical practice, which entailed 2 offices, and they downsized.
So she was out of work again. A personnel consultant herself, she now spends a lot of time at the Displaced Worker Center looking for opportunities.
There are opportunities. It's just that they receive 300 resumes per position, and that's what your chances are.
Employment counselor B.J. Rayco says it's especially hard on white-collar unemployed. They have a new reality to face.
The market is beginning to open up, but people who may have earned more than $50,000 in the past are finding if they're fortunate enough to find jobs, they're at salaries far below the level they were earning before.
People of the yuppie generation suddenly downwardly mobile, dumpies.
The feeling that an employee is permanent when he's working there, that feeling is gone.
As soon as I started interviewing, I realized that things were not the way they used to be, and that I would have to be realistic.
When you lose a job, you know you lose your status. You lose your identity. You lose who you think you were.
But that doesn't mean you can't become someone else just as valuable to yourself and to others.
Quite frankly, you know, being a vice president of a bank, it has some prestige attached to it. I no longer have that. But then again, on the flip side, I'm now president of my own company, so, you know, it's kind of a move up.
And selling yourself to a new employer becomes the same as selling your services independently.
This is an opportunity to, as I said, toot your own horn. Tell them why you are so perfect for that job.
Even if it's not the same job that college recruiters once said you'd have forever. Teresa Rodriguez, Channel 4 News.
Well, up next on 4 News Now, the Woody Allen sex scandal heats up amid charges of child abuse. Tonight, word the famous filmmaker already has a new leading lady. We'll fill you in. And from breakups to makeups, one couple takes the plunge, Elvis style. 4 News Now, we'll be right back.
Hot. Hotter. Hottest. Good. Great. Cool. Yes. Do it.
Come fly with us this summer. The Miami Seaquarium presents the Bungee Flying Spectacular, the only show of its kind anywhere. See exciting, synchronized bungee thrills exclusively at the Miami Seaquarium. And after the show, you can experience the thrill of flying. Plus, enjoy all of our fabulous shows and exhibits. The Miami Seaquarium. We put the wow back in water.
You're taking what this year?
Home ec.
You gotta be kidding.
No, I'm completely serious. Get serious savings at Mervyn's on LA Gear shoes just in time for back to school.
Where do you think all the girls are?
Save on great LA Gear styles for everyone in the family for back to school.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Gina. So, I guess we'll see you in home ec this year, huh?
Bake me a pie. I'm taking metal shop.
Save on LA Gear through Saturday.
We are closing in on the Channel 4 News at 6. Joining us now, Kelly Craig. Kelly?
Thank you, Tony. Coming up in just a few minutes at 6, dramatic 911 tapes following the fatal beating of a Vietnamese teenager in Coral Springs. As we have said, there have been numerous arrests. Tonight, you will hear those tapes. And don't have a cow, man. The Simpsons have something to say about George Bush. Homer and Bart give us their perspective of the campaign. And yes, the photos are out. A topless Fergie in the arms of an American businessman. Say it ain't so. All coming up in just a few minutes at 6.
The perfect parents. Life is not a game. The perfect kids.
He followed me home.
The perfect family for Mazda Mania 2, the summer's premier sales event. Now get $1,000 cash back from Mazda on a Mazda MPV. Don't miss these gargantuan values.
It's back!
Don't miss Mazda Mania 2. Get $1,000 cash back on a new Mazda MPV now.